So ProPublica is out with an absolutely incredible story. This is a huge deal. We've now reached the point where the Biden administration vis-a-vis Gaza is lying as much and as severely as George W. Bush and Dick Cheney lied with the war in Iraq. And that is like probably viewed as the worst lie from a political leader in American history, that Saddam Hussein had weapons of mass destruction and he worked with Al-Qaeda to do 9/11. Everybody knows now this was a total fabrication and they just wanted to go in and topple the government of Iraq. And now we're at that level with the Biden administration and Israel. This should be the biggest news story in the country right now. So look at this. Israel deliberately blocked humanitarian aid to Gaza. That, we know, we've covered that in detail. Okay, they continue. 2 government bodies concluded that, U.S. government bodies. Anthony Blinken rejected them. Blinken told Congress, quote, "We do not currently assess that the Israeli government is prohibiting or otherwise restricting aid, even though the U.S. Agency for International Development and others had determined that Israel had broken the law." So what you're seeing in this story, and we'll get more into it in a second, is you actually have a split in the so-called deep state among U.S. agencies, where some of the people who are directly involved with U.S. foreign policy are calling a spade a spade. They're calling a spade, and they're going, look, we see what's happening. Israel is committing war crime after war crime, atrocity after atrocity. And you have the Biden administration very smugly rejecting the findings to keep business as usual continuing. The U.S. government's 2 foremost authorities on humanitarian assistance concluded this spring that Israel had deliberately blocked deliveries of food and medicine into Gaza. The U.S. Agency for International Development delivered its assessment to Secretary of State Anthony Blinken, and the State Department's Refugees Bureau made its stance known to top diplomats in late April. Their conclusion was explosive because U.S. law requires the government to cut off weapon shipments to countries that prevent the delivery of U.S.-backed humanitarian aid. Israel has been largely dependent on American bombs and other weapons in Gaza since Hamas's October 7th attacks. But Blinken and the administration of President Joe Biden did not accept either finding. Days later, on May 10th, Blinken delivered a carefully worded statement to Congress that said, quote, "We do not currently assess that the Israeli government is prohibiting or otherwise restricting the transport or delivery of U.S. humanitarian assistance." So, look, I know he's trying to use weasel words and dress it up and give himself plausible deniability and have loopholes there in his speech, but that's just a lie. That's just a lie. Prior to his report, USAID had sent Blinken a detailed 17-page memo on Israel's conduct. The memo described instances of Israeli interference with aid efforts, including killing aid workers, razing agricultural structures, bombing ambulances and hospitals, sitting on supply depots, and routinely turning away trucks full of food and medicine. Life-saving food was stockpiled less than 30 miles across the border in an Israeli port, including enough flour to feed about 1.5 million Palestinians for 5 months. But in February, the Israeli government had prohibited the transfer of flour, saying its recipient was the United Nations Palestinian branch that had been accused of having ties with Hamas. Separately, the head of the State Department's Bureau of Population, Refugees, and Migration had also determined that Israel was blocking humanitarian aid and that the Foreign Assistance Act should be triggered to freeze almost $830 million in taxpayer dollars earmarked for weapons and bombs to Israel, according to emails obtained by ProPublica. In other words, you had some people in the U.S. government actually doing their job and actually saying, hey, Israel is in contravention of this law and that law and this law. And under current U.S. law, we got to freeze any more money and weapons to them because of what they're doing. Detailed 17-page memo giving specific instances. Here are the crimes they're committing. Here are the crimes. Anthony Blinken threw it in the garbage, went about his day, continued with business as usual, sending more money and more weapons and lying so Israel could starve Palestinians. Guys, this aid was going to innocent Palestinian civilians who are displaced. That's where this aid was going. Israel tries to lie. Hamas is stealing all the aid. Really? There's 2.3 million Palestinians in Gaza. There's about 40,000 Hamas members. It wouldn't even make logical sense for them to, we're gonna keep all of the aid for 2.3 million people to feed our 40,000. Even at face value, it's an absurd lie. And of course, there's zero evidence of it. There's zero evidence of UNRWA being infiltrated by Hamas. These were lies. These were lies. And now we learned the U.S. government itself was going, hey, man, this is not okay. We got to do something here. And it's the Biden administration that stonewalled them and said, shut up. They're going to do what they're going to do, and we're going to keep backing them. This is incredible, man. The UN has declared a famine in parts of Gaza. The world's leading independent panel of aid experts found that nearly half of the Palestinians in the enclave are struggling with hunger. Many go days without eating. Local authorities say dozens of children have starved to death, likely a significant undercount. Healthcare workers are battling a lack of immunizations compounded by sanitation crisis. Last month, a little boy became Gaza's first confirmed case of polio in 25 years. The U.S. aid officials wrote that because of Israel's behavior, the U.S. should pause additional arms sales to the country. ProPublica obtained a copy of the agency's April memo, along with the list of evidence that the officials cited to back up their findings. Guys, it's a wrap for Biden. This right here is his legacy. This is what he's going to be known for. And all of the stuff he did vis-a-vis unions and the economy and wages and the areas where he genuinely moved us in a positive direction, that is 100% overshadowed by this Nazi-like shit. You were given detailed evidence of how Israel is committing crime after crime and starving people and killing aid workers and torturing people and all this stuff, and you just don't care. They just don't care. USAID, which is led by longtime diplomat Samantha Power. By the way, Samantha Power is a liberal interventionist. Even she was disgusted with what was going on. Listen, said the looming famine in Gaza was the result of Israel's arbitrary denial, restriction, and impediments of U.S. humanitarian assistance, according to the memo. It also acknowledged Hamas had played a role in the humanitarian crisis. USAID, which receives overall policy guidance from the Secretary of State, is an independent agency responsible for international development and disaster relief. The agency had for months tried and failed to deliver enough food and medicine to a starving and desperate Palestinian population. It is, USAID concluded, one of the worst humanitarian catastrophes in the world. In response to detailed questions for this story, the State Department said it had pressured the Israelis to increase the flow of aid. In other words, they were going, please, pretty please, we would really appreciate it if you didn't let people starve to death right across the border. Quote, as we made clear in May when our report was released, the U.S. had deep concerns during the period since October 7th about action and inaction by Israel that contributed to a lack of sustained delivery of needed humanitarian assistance, a spokesperson wrote. Israel subsequently took steps to facilitate increased humanitarian access and aid flow into Gaza. That part's a lie. So as you can see, there is genuinely a split among U.S. government agencies. Some of them are party hacks, and they're towing the line, and others are bureaucrats who actually give a shit, and they're like, bro, you got to do something. This is crazy. They're doing Nazi shit. They're trying to starve an entire population. And Anthony Blinken's response and Joe Biden's response, www.shh.org. We don't care. So now a lie that's right up there with weapons of mass destruction is Israel is not withholding aid from Palestinians as they starve, as they go thirsty, as they lack basic medicine and treatment and care, as they get all sorts of preventable diseases. This lie is right up there with weapons of mass destruction. And this is going to be Biden's legacy. This is going to be what he's known for. And still at this late date, right before the election, Netanyahu is now trying to do what he did to Gaza, to Lebanon, and Biden is still there sending 40,000 troops to the Middle East to assist him. Still sending the money, still sending the weapons, and smugly lecturing about, oh, we're trying so hard to get a deal. You could have a deal today if you cut off the money and the weapons. But you don't really want one. He's a Zionist hack, Joe Biden is, willing to lie on behalf of a theocratic, fundamentalist, ethno-state, apartheid state. Jesus. I don't know how these people sleep at night. I don't know how Blinken sleeps at night. I don't know how Biden sleeps at night. And the only positive takeaway from this is that there are people in the U.S. government who are filling a role, who are part of the bureaucracy, who are trying to do the right thing and also sounding the alarm when law is not being upheld. Hey, y'all, do me a favor and like and subscribe. It helps out big time in the algorithm. Click the bell as well for notifications when videos drop, and watch that video on screen right now. You know you want to.